Welcome to Mr. English Cafe. Imagine you just received a text message. Your heart drops, your stomach turns into a tight knot. You haven't even opened the message yet, but you already feel exhausted. Why? Because it's from that person. Maybe it's a parent who always criticizes you, or a friend who only calls when they need money or a favor. Statistics show that nearly 80% of people have dealt with a toxic relationship in their life. But here is my question for you today. Are you holding on to someone who is slowly breaking your spirit just because you're afraid of being the bad guy? Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Joe. I am so glad you chose to spend these few minutes with me today. Today, we are talking about something that is very close to my heart, and I know it's close to yours too, dealing with toxic people and learning how to set boundaries with family and friends. Before we dive deep into the heart of this, if you find our conversations helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps our community grow, and it tells me that these topics matter to you. Now, let's take a deep breath together. Let's talk about your peace. You know, the word toxic is used a lot lately, but what does it actually feel like? In real life, it's not always a big explosion or a loud fight. Sometimes it's a slow leak. Think about a friend who always makes jokes about your insecurities. When you get upset, they say, "Oh, you're too sensitive." That is gaslighting. Or think about a family member who uses guilt like a weapon. After everything I did for you, you can't even do this one thing for me. I remember a listener named Sarah. Sarah had a friend she'd known since childhood. Every time they met, the friend talked for 2 hours about her own problems. If Sarah tried to share her own news, even good news, the friend would bring the conversation back to herself. Sarah left every coffee date feeling drained, empty, and small. Why do we stay? Often, it's because of history. We think, but they are family, or we've been friends for 10 years. But friends, listen to me. Length of time does not give someone a license to hurt you. Blood relation is not a contract that allows someone to ignore your feelings. Toxic people often have no boundaries themselves, so they will hate it when you start building yours. They might call you selfish, they might try to make you feel guilty. But setting a boundary isn't about being mean, it's about being honest. It's saying, "I love you, but I cannot allow you to speak to me this way anymore." To understand why we struggle with this, we need to look at two incredible teachers. First, let's talk about Prentis Hemphill. Prentis is a gifted writer and therapist who focuses on healing and how we connect as humans, they said. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Let's look at the deep meaning here. Usually, we think a boundary is a wall, something to keep people away. But Prentis teaches us that a boundary is actually a bridge. Imagine a brother who always asks for money and never pays it back. If you keep giving, you start to hate him. You lose your love for him and your respect for yourself. By saying, "I love you, but I will not lend you money anymore," you create a safe distance. At that distance, you can stop being angry and start loving him as a brother again while still keeping your bank account safe. You are loving both people at the same time. Next, we look at Brené Brown and her famous book, Daring Greatly. Brené is a researcher who spent years studying shame and vulnerability. In her book, she explains that daring greatly means showing up and being seen, even when there is no guarantee of success, she says. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. The deep meaning here is about the fear of disappointment. Many of us are people pleasers. We are terrified that if we say no, people will think we are mean. Brené teaches us that no is a complete sentence. Imagine it's Friday night. You're exhausted. Your friend calls and demands you come to a party. You want to stay home for your mental health. If you go, you are betraying yourself to please them. To dare greatly is to say, I can't make it tonight, and sit with the uncomfortable feeling that your friend might be annoyed. You are choosing your own well-being over their temporary happiness. How do we put this into practice? Let's look at our 3 suggestions with more depth. 1. Identify the emotional drain. Don't just listen to your head. Listen to your body. Our bodies are very smart. When you see a toxic person's name on your phone, does your chest tighten? Do you hold your breath? This is your nervous system telling you, danger. Start a peace journal. After you hang out with someone, write down 1 word for how you feel. If that word is always tired, anxious, or guilty, that is your sign. 2. Master the I statement. Toxic people love to argue. If you say, "You're always mean to me," they will say, "No, I'm not. You're the mean one." This is a trap. Instead, use I statements. Say, I feel hurt when my choices are criticized. I need to feel supported when we talk. You are not talking about their behavior. You are talking about your internal world. It is much harder for someone to argue with how you feel. 3. Practice the pause. Setting boundaries doesn't have to be a big speech. It can be a pause. When a toxic person asks for something unreasonable, don't say yes immediately. Say, let me check my schedule and get back to you. This gives you time to breathe and gather your courage. You are reclaiming your power in small, 5-minute increments. To conclude, toxic relationships are like carrying a heavy backpack while climbing a mountain. You can be the strongest climber in the world, but you will never reach the top if you are carrying someone else's rocks. You are not a fixer or a rehab center for badly behaved people. You are a human being. Remember what Brené Brown and Prentis Hemphill taught us. A boundary is an act of love. It is the highest form of self-respect. Today we learned that boundaries are the distance required to love yourself and others. We learned that daring greatly means being okay with disappointing people to save your soul. And we learned to listen to our bodies. Here is my engagement question for you. If you were not afraid of being called selfish, what is one thing you would stop doing today? Write it down, look at it. That is your first boundary. If this helped you, please subscribe, like, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps me keep this channel going. Thank you for your heart and your time. I'm Joe, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us. In this podcast, you've learned the following. Let's read aloud. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. Feel free to read it aloud. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave a comment below.